Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, rather quiet day, no surprise given that the US stock market is closed today, so we have limited volatility in the market. Bitcoin did move up a little bit, trying to break above this trend line here, which I mentioned to you is not a very good one given that we only have like 2 touch points. Nevertheless, we try to push a bit higher. I see two potentials. These scenarios haven't really changed, but I've adjusted some labels. So that gives us a clearer wave count and actually one that looks decent. Still don't like it. The idea is that in the more, so there I see basically let's say two scenarios about, or let's say two scenarios for the yellow wave count, okay, or the yellow structure. What's the yellow structure? Yellow is sending us down into the 40K region. So there is a bearish setup. Actually, there are two for a move down into the 40K region. Doesn't mean we will test 40,000. It's more like there's one support level at 43,000 and there's one which I'm showing on the daily chart. I showed you that earlier today around 45.5K. So there are two wave counts that I see as likely how to get there. And the first one is a 1-2, 1-2 setup, where we have an initial 1-2, and this here is a leading diagonal to the downside in circle wave 1, and we're now recovering in circle 2. Now, a leading diagonal within a larger third wave is rare. It does happen, but it is kind of rare. Therefore, it's not high confidence, okay, that we are moving down like this in an aggressive fashion. It would require, however, a break above 60,336 to make this directly bearish scenario less likely. What should happen next in this scenario is that we maybe we go a little bit higher in an ABC structure, move into the resistance area, which is between 59,180 and 60,336, and from there we would move down in circle wave 3. So that would be a rapid sell-off. This would be further confirmed with a reaction to the resistance area and a break below the intraday low. It's not the intraday low, it's the Sunday low actually. We'll break below like 57,200. All right, that would further confirm that, and we should really move down in the third of a third wave, which would be quite aggressive. In a more, let's say, more short-term bullish but still bearish scenario, this here is a wave 1 to the downside and an A wave up, an overshooting B wave to the downside, which I also don't like, and then a C wave rally, and it could drive us a bit higher. And then we have the upper resistance area to watch for a larger wave 2. In this case, our resistance levels are 61,344 to 63,422. They haven't changed at all. So above the resistance areas, each of these scenarios will get less likely. And the formal invalidation point for the larger wave 2 is the 65K level. So it's this swing high from Monday the 26th or Sunday the 25th. Now, resistances and invalidation points are not the same. Above the resistance area, the bearish scenario becomes less likely, but not invalidated. Okay, so for the directly bearish scenario, the direct move to the downside scenario, the invalidation point is located around 61,200. So these are the important levels, and the break below the Sunday low, as I said, around 57,200 would likely accelerate the downside pathway. Now, this is not to scare anyone, it just tells you the setup, which can easily be invalidated. I mean, this move down isn't exactly impulsive, but it works quite well as a diagonal pattern here, circle 1. Yeah. Now, I don't like the proportions in that diagonal, which means I'm skeptical about it, but it's all valid from an Elliott Wave point of view. Most importantly, it tells us the resistance levels. That's really what it's about. And if we get a break above resistance, specifically above the upper resistance area, that is when I will assume the bulls are starting to take back control. And I mean, that's possible, right? In this case, a larger third wave would likely send us maybe close to 70K. Be prepared for that, but there is no clear setup for it, in my opinion. At least I'd like to see a smaller 5-wave move up, 3-wave pullback, but it takes a break above resistances. That's just the situation at the moment, right? So we can really only judge what we see in the market right now. I can tell you that all the rallies from the 5th of August low, they've been extremely choppy, they've been corrective, and we don't really have that clearly bullish setup. Therefore, it's worth being skeptical about the white wave count. We have to be skeptical about any micro count generally, but especially at the moment, because we are still in a larger sideways range, as I showed you in the previous video where I covered the daily chart, and things can change quickly here. That it is just what it is. So that's the update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.